All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am back, Brad from Undrafted Hockey Fan. I am so glad to be back. It's been a minute. I had a lot of life things happen. Wife's in the master's program. We moved, hence the background is green now, as opposed to my white apartment where we got a house and everything now, and we got a baby on the way. So it has been crazy with house projects and getting everything ready for baby. But we have some huge Red Wings news. So this is a huge turn. Hence the Red Wing shirt, hence the Red Wing icon up there, right there. And I will get the Red Wing sign back up. I don't know if I'm gonna make this my permanent spot yet, but it's change progress. We have so much big Red Wings news, and I got a hot take for you. I'll tell you at the end. So, but I will say, you got two huge things. Okay, I'll start with, of course, the one that everyone's talking about. Of course, everyone's talking about in Hockey Town. It's the biggest move. It's honestly, it's making waves around the whole NHL. And that is the signing of Eric Branson. Of course it is. Not Eric Branson. Oh, goodness gracious. Travis Hamonic. Goodness. Holy smokes. I have my glasses on. I clearly can't see that well. We'll bring up his card and everything first as well. So what I wanted to show is we have, let's pull up JFresh, because honestly, JFresh is the best. If you're not on Twitter, check him out. But let's show this right now. How do we do this? It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. I'm still relearning how to do this. And that is not it. But that is it. That is absolutely it. So we have Travis Hamonic, who played in the Ottawa Senators last year. He's a veteran defenseman. Played a ton on the penalty kill, which is the biggest thing for the Red Wings right now, is the penalty kill. Was terrible last year. I think they're like 26. I think they were 32nd at a good chunk, for a good chunk of the season. But of course, you can see a lot of red. Not a great guy, but he's a right-handed defenseman. He is. So we're getting something there. He's a right-handed defenseman. That's a huge start right there. And so he probably most likely play third pair, but he will also probably take over for Justin Hall as well. And so when you consider that, let me pull up his minutes and everything too. So we're looking at Puckpedia right now. If we share this tab right now. So Puckpedia has him. They have Justin Hall as a scratch and Bernard Dockert as the other scratch as well. He's also a right-handed defenseman. So you look at the right side, you have Moritz Seider, Albert Johansson playing the left-hander on a second pair playing right-handed defense. By the way, I know we're going to talk about Fedorov. Don't worry, stop. Just don't do this to yourself. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Fedorov. Don't you worry. But I gotta hit the Travis Hamonic news. I mean, it's the small thing. We're going to spend 5 minutes on it. We're going to talk about it. Is it actually impactful? Probably not, but it is something, right? Something like Yzerman likes to do. He likes to create competition, and it's fine. It's fine. So we'll be real quick. Don't worry. We're going to get to it. Don't worry. So we have Edmonton. So Seider is the number one right side. Albert Johansson on the left side as well. And then you are on the right side as well. He's a left-handed defenseman playing second pair minutes, which is kind of crazy. I think Travis Hamonic on the right side, third pair defenseman. And honestly, the thing is he's not a point getter. He's at 7 points in the last 56 games. I don't even know what he hasn't done. He hasn't been the most impressive player, honestly, in the last couple of years. He's basically like, if we had him in 2016, that would have been great, right? 2007, 15, 16, that would have been awesome. He played hard minutes and everything too. But in the last year, he had 7 points in 59 games. The year before that, he had 6 points in 48 games. In his second year with the Ottawa Senators, 22-23, he had 21 points in 75 games. But again, you're not looking for him. He's not a point getter. That's not his role. His role is to be a more defensively responsible guy and kind of give a little more grit to him as well, which is good because Red Wings will have a ton of grit, and you don't necessarily want your big guys like that's why you have a Sherratt, right? But Sherratt should be your third pair defenseman. He's second or third pair defenseman, but there's no one good enough on the left side. Never mind. There is someone good enough on the left side. His name's Edmonton, but he's too good. And you actually need some support on the left side. So you have to put him on second pair because you have a stacked Seider Edmonton, right? And then you have Johansson with Sherratt, which are both more defensive guys, right? You have Gustafsson, awesome offense, and your right side's kind of screwed. Anyways, so my prediction here is that Justin Hall actually, so this is it's my hot take, but right now Red Wings are rocking 8 defensemen right now. They have 2 goalies. Last year they rocked 3. But they have Jacob Bernard Docker, they have Justin Hall, and they have Travis Hamonic. In my opinion, the fact that Travis Hamonic's only making $1 million, good bet. He's 35 years old. He played a ton on the penalty kill last year, so he only had 17 minutes of ice time per game usually. That's more like third pair, second and a half pair defenseman. And with that, he for even time he didn't play a lot of power play, but on the shorthanded for penalty kill, he played 1.5 minutes a night. So that's good. That's like a significant amount of time, right? If you look who's been playing mostly on the penalty kill last year, we're seeing Seider's playing almost 2 minutes, 1 minute and 57 seconds every game. Sherratt's playing 1 minute and 43 seconds a game. Edmonton was playing 1 minute and 33 seconds a game, right? And Johansson was even getting 25 seconds a game. So on average. So if you get someone like that where you get Hamonic on there, you could pull let's say you pull Johansson off, right? Maybe he can get me a little more rest. He may be able to last a little bit longer over the 82 games, right? Maybe you're like, okay, maybe you can get Seider some time off on the, which would be crazy, by the way. Give Seider a little time off, and maybe you don't have to start him the PP1. Maybe you can do Seider on PP2. Again, give him a little bit more of a break, right? And that maybe just be a little bit easier on the penalty kill. I think Trent Yanni has the idea what to do with Travis Hamonic. I think that's huge. In my opinion, I think if there's a guy that needs to be called up or sent down or anything, I think Justin Hall gets waived again because he's making $3.4 million. Yeah, $3.4 million for this last year. He'll be done. Then the Justin Hall experiment will be over. I thought they were going to have to get rid of Hall or Tarasenko. Yzerman did get rid of Tarasenko. He traded him to the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. Sweet. Awesome. They took him for free. And now Justin Hall, his contract will fall off after this year. So are we mad? We're absolutely not mad. And so it's better than having to buy it out and then having to pay 2/3 of the contract for this year and next year. It just makes sense to ride it out, and then it's just done next year. So Justin Hall will be gone after this year. And I think again, if you waive him, no one claims him because he makes too much money. And then you have Jacob Bernard-Dockert as well. But he's a 25-year-old. 25. He was on the Ottawa Senators. He got traded to the Buffalo Sabres in the Cousins and not Pinto, the Cousins deal. And Buffalo did not qualify him as 25-year-old right-handed defenseman. Okay. He can play really well. And I think that he is a good bet. If you waive him, he will absolutely get claimed. But I think he's a good bet. He's a young defenseman. Only played 25 games last year. But again, a good young bet. If we're looking at what he did, I mean, he didn't have in 23, 24, he had 14 points in 72 games. He played a lot bigger role back then. But I want to look back at some of his junior years back in North Dakota, the University of North Dakota. He had 18 points in 27 games. So that's a solid season, right? In the AJHL, he had 41 points in 39 games. Again, defenseman. So he can produce some points, right? I think there's a little bit higher upside with Jacob Bernard-Dockert. I think you give him a bit bigger role and let him thrive a little bit. He could be something, right? It's a bet, right? Is Travis Hamonic, the 35-year-old defenseman, going to work out long term? Probably not. But it's some guy that can fill in for this point, right? You need a right-handed defenseman, right? Justin Hall, is he the long-term solution? Absolutely not. He's older as well. You want to be done with him. If Jacob Bernard-Dockert works out as a guy, he can be a third-pair defenseman and he works out just fine, we're not mad about that. And he's still young enough. He's a little older than Seider. But again, we're not mad about a guy like him. He might work out. It's a bet, right? And it's only $825,000 a year. Get off Stevie's back in this case. So I like it. Again, hope Travis Hamonic works out to be a better penalty killer. But it is funny that Jacob Bernard-Dockert and Travis Hamonic were both fighting for time on the ice on the Ottawa Senators, and now they both go to the Detroit Red Wings, and they are both fighting for the same minutes again. It's kind of comical, just to say the least. So anyways, that is Travis Hamonic, and we're going to jump into, of course, the big story we have here. The big story is, of course, Sergei Fedorov'S is now going to be having his number retired with the Detroit Red Wings after a long battle with them. Battle in the sense that there was some animosity here, okay? There's some things that happened, and we're going to go over a lot of that, but I just want to give you some things on why the Red Wings retire him. Not necessarily now, but why they retire him in general, because he's a phenomenal player. just go over, hit up some of this. This is the Rutgers Reuters article. If you want to check it out, there'll be a link down below. But for right now, this article. Sergei Fedorov'S will be joining Terry Sawchuk, Red Kelly, Nicholas Lidstrom, Ted Lindsay, Gordie Howe, Alex Devecchio, Sid Abel, and Steve Yzerman in the rafters at Detroit at the Little Caesars Arena, which I thought was really great. That was a really great quote from the CEO of Chris Ilitch of the Red Wings. We are honored to celebrate Sergei Fedorov and raise his 91 in its rightful place. Rightful, by the way. Rightful place, hanging in the rafters at Little Caesars Arena among the all-time greats who have worn the winged wheel. His exceptional skill, relentless drive, and lasting impact play a pivotal role, bringing 3 Stanley Cup champions to Detroit, making him the perfect embodiment of qualities deserving of our franchise's most prestigious honor. Okay, so a couple things talking about with him. He played 13 of his 18 seasons with the Red Wings, won Stanley Cups in 97, 98, and 2002. We're going to talk about the year 98 in a second. Not when they won, a little before between the two cups. There's some drama here. There's some tea. There's a little hot tea. He also recorded 954 points with Detroit in 908 games, 400 goals. Huge, right? We know he also went to the Hockey Hall of Fame as well. It's crazy because they picked this guy in the 4th round in 1998. And I just want to do a little caveat on how crazy the 1998 Detroit Red Wings were. The draft, it's honestly amazing. So first in the first round, you get Mike Sillinger, Cole Sillinger's dad. Mike Sillinger was an icon, played over 1,000 games in the NHL, and Cole Sillinger plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So of course, I think Mike Sillinger has the most. He played for the most teams. Islanders, Predators, Blues, Coyotes, Jackets, Senators, Panthers, Lightning, Flyers, Canucks, Ducks, Red Wings. So I'm pretty sure he holds a record for the most teams played for, which is really crazy. So Bob Boughner was also picked in the 2nd round, which, by the way, he was a former coach of the Detroit Red Wings. Nicholas Lidstrom, of course, icon, 1,500 games. I mean, retired number. He's clearly great. Sergei Fedorov, Dallas Drake played 1,000 games. And of course, you have Vladimir Konstantinov, career completely cut short in 446 games. As an amazing defenseman, of course, in the car crash. So again, this collective class had over 5,000 games played in the NHL. It's regarded as one of the best draft classes of any NHL team ever. So just to give you an idea, this is how big of a deal it is. So it's a great draft. Of course, going back to the article, as Fedorov says, I'm extremely grateful for the tremendous honor. Thank you to everyone with the Red Wings organization, especially those who helped bring me to Detroit and give me a chance to play for such a historic franchise. And he is talking, of course, of what's his name? Great, Gabe. Let me pull up the article because there are the Wikipedia page because I actually have his book. It is, goodness gracious, why can't I think of his name? It's killing me. Keith Gabe. There you go. Keith Gabe. He's on Twitter as well. Wrote a book about the Russian Five. And he talks about how he was a facilitator. He spoke Russian. So he was he was the guy that helped Konstantinov and Fedorov defect from Russia to come over. Of course, Alex McGillney was the first superstar Russian to defect from the Russia and come over to the NHL. Fedorov, of course, Konstantinov came over a couple of years later as well. So it is crazy, in my opinion, of how this all happened. So you have an amazing draft here. And we're talking about a little bit talking about this guy as the icon that he is, right? Played for a couple of teams. He was part of the Russian Five as well, with Igor Larionov at center. You have Slava Kozlov at left, Slava Fetisov, and Konstantinov on defense. And of course, Fedorov was playing right wing in this case. Of course, the Wings won. This is iconic, by the way. So of course, they won in 97, 98 with those lines as well. So I want to get over to the big drama, which happened with the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll switch to the tab and we'll be reading about this, but just give me a second. We have a short break for our sponsors and we'll be right back at it right after this. And we are back. And the biggest thing we're talking about mind you, Red Wings they're playing Fedorov, right? It's 1997 and they go out and they win the Stanley Cup over the Washington Capitals. Yeah. So goodness gracious, they win. Anyways, I forget who they play against. Anyways, they win the Stanley Cup 1997. So the Red Wings are like, hey, they got to sign restricted free agent Fedorov, right? And so, of course, if you've heard of offer sheets, they become more popular with the St. Louis Blues, doing the 2 offer sheets to Holland and Broberg for the Edmonton Oilers. The Carolina Hurricanes had just become so that they were the Hartford Whalers in '97. They get moved to the Carolina, become the Carolina Hurricanes, and in their first year as the Carolina Hurricanes, they say, "Hey, we're going to offer sheet Fedorov," which means, of course, they're going to offer us a certain amount of money. Say, "Hey," Carolina's like, "Hey, Fedorov, we'll pay this. We'll pay you all this. Do you want to? You want to work with us? Here, you want to pay it." And what happens is that Fedorov's like, "Man, I love all this money. I'd love to." And we're going to talk about the money in a second. But Detroit has, when you offer sheet a player, the team that you're offer sheet, the guy that owns the rights of the player has an opportunity to say, "Hey, that contract that you gave him, we'd actually like to match that." And so what they did is that Fedorov actually held out for almost the whole season. He actually ended up only playing 21 games that season. And during that part, he was paid for 21 games in the regular season, first plus playoffs, but that's not part of your salary. You was paid $2 million. You're like, okay, well, that's a pretty reasonable, at least for the time. It seems reasonable, right? And of course, there was a $14 million signing bonus alone just to bring him over, right? So if you play with the Carolina Hurricanes, Fedorov was going to make $16 million right off the bat, right? $14 million signing bonus, $2 million for regular season. You're like $16 million, man. That's a hefty price. It's a pretty big price. But now there was another clause in this this offer sheet. Carolina Hurricanes said that if in the contract they offer, and this was to screw over Detroit, by the way, they said if the Carolina Hurricanes, the offer they put in there, if they made the conference finals, Fedorov would get a $12 million bonus at that time. And I was like, holy smokes. And of course, they had just, Hartford wasn't working. They go over to they become the Carolina Hurricanes, right? And now they're not good. They're not good enough to make the playoffs. And so they're like, of course, we're not going to have to pay them $12 million. It's not going to work. So this is to screw the Red Wings in this case, to kind of give them incentive. So Red Wings are like, hey, we'll match it. We will match it. So immediately, so hey, you're gonna play 21 games for us. Here's $2 million for that. Also, here's $14 million just to this is $14 million as a signing bonus, which is crazy. And of course, Red Wings win in 97. What do they do in 98? Of course, they make it to the conference finals because in 1998, the Detroit Red Wings win the Stanley freaking Cup for the second consecutive year. And that means that because they reached the 1998 conference finals, Fedorov has paid $12 million as a bonus. And to this day, that is the most a player has ever made in one season, in a single season ever, right? $28 million, $14 million plus 2 is $16 million, plus another $12 million, which is $28 million to Fedorov it's crazy. So for a total, he made $20 million for 43 total games. So that's including playoffs, which again remains largest single amount paid to an NHL player. Of course, Fedorov led the playoffs in goals and helped the Red Wings win. So, it's crazy because he's like, oh yeah, that $2 million on the following year. By the way, he announced he's going to create a charity for that $2 million of salary because he just made off like a bandit, dude. So it's just crazy. Also in the 2002 games, NHL game skills, he shot the puck at 101.5 miles per hour in the net to win the hardest shot. He was just a monster, a phenom. One other thing he talked about, another accomplishment as well of him is that I believe it was Scotty Bowman at the time, or one of the higher ups in the Detroit Red Wings. In this Stanley Cup, he played defense because they were down defensemen. He played defense, and I think it was Delvecchio, they were like, or Holland, or one of those guys that said he was the best defenseman out there. They had Nick Lidstrom. Out there, and they said, "Hey, this guy's our best defenseman." But they said that would be a disservice to him as a player because he had so much offensive ability that it was not fair. So, of course, he went back to offense. But it was crazy that they believe that he honestly could have won a Norris Trophy if he was playing defense, which is just mind-blowing to be wild. So, and then what happened is 2003 happens, right? So, 2002 happens. Red Wings win the Stanley Cup as well. So now Fedorov is at his third Stanley Cup with the only organization he's ever known, right? And in the offseason in 2023, so a year later, he signs a deal as a free agent with the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim after a long dispute with the Red Wings, in which he rejected a 5-year contract at $50 million, so $10 million a year, which is a lot today, right? And a 4-year deal at $40 million. So it was it's a little shocking that happened. And of course, they were upset. Like they're like, hey, we offered you all this money to stay. He was older at this point. I think, let me see how old he was. He was in 2003. I mean, he was born in 69. So I mean, it was like 34 at the time. I mean, he's still older, but like it wasn't that crazy. Is that right? 2003. Yeah, 34. That's right. So it was still crazy. But it was like, you're like, dude, like this is the only organization you've been. He was older. It felt like it was a disservice. But again, of course, they had the contract negotiations and everything with Ilitch's and the Carolina Hurricane offer sheet. And then Red Wings are like, hey, we're going to throw the bag at you still. We're a very expensive franchise. We're willing to give you the money. But the rumors that went around, because I remember when he left and the other rumors went around, the thought process was that, hey, in Detroit, you can't drive your Corvette around all year long. And in Anaheim, basically LA, you can. So with the Ducks, he signs a deal with them. And so one of the controversies here, though, is that with the Ducks, he was having some issues with the Ducks, and let me back up. Sorry. With the Ducks, he recorded his 1,000th point in the NHL and became the first Russian-born and sixth European-born player to hit 1,000 points. So another thing was that the issue with the Mighty Ducks is that he was having a little bit of conflict. And that Brian Burke at the time, the GM of the Mighty Ducks, said that Fedorov was less interested in contributing to the team as they have with the Red Wings and more enjoyed the nightlife in LA. Of course he would, right? So Brian Burke, GM of the Anaheim Ducks, is like, I'm sending Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry to the AHL so that like they're not getting influenced by Sergei Fedorov and he just wanted to hang out and have a good time, which is fine, right? But if you're trying to build a team, you're trying to bring up young stars, you need the guys to stay focused in a certain way. So he gets traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. And so let's see. And then of course with the Blue Jackets, he plays his 1,000th game. And it becomes the 13th European born player to reach 1,000 NHL games. And of course, with Bowman, it says Fedorov is one of my favorite players. As a coach, he can because he can do anything. Asked him on the ice. And it was Jim Delvecchio. I'm convinced if we left him on defense, he would have won the Norris, which is honestly, it's mind blowing. Of course, then he goes on to play for the Capitals and goes back to the KHL. And just to go back a little bit as well. So we're talking about how great he is. He's been phenomenal. He's played so amazingly, had a great long career with this. And there's a reason that like retiring never took this long. Because I think there's a bit of bitterness with Mike Ilitch, the original owner of the Detroit Red Wings, of this era of the Detroit Red Wings, before his son Chris took over. And so it's a little mind blowing of what he's done, not only as an NHL player, but outside the NHL in the KHL. Going to his post career, he actually was the general manager of CSKA Moscow, which is one of the biggest. I think it's the biggest KHL, the Continental Hockey League out in Russia. It's their biggest league. It's arguably the thought process is in the world of hockey, the leagues of difficulty goes NHL, KHL, then AHL, right? And there's the KHL and the AHL are pretty similar in difficulty. They're saying if you thrive in the KHL, you could probably thrive in the you for sure thrive in the AHL, but you can actually make more money in the KHL than the AHL. Because AHL is treated more like a farm team for the NHL teams. But you could actually, some guys leave to go to the KHL to make more money because they make more money in the KHL than they would in the NHL. So, and then of course, in 2021, Fedorov was named head coach of CSKA. In his first 2 seasons as the head coach, he won back-to-back Gagarin Cups, which is the Stanley Cup of the KHL. It's just mind-blowing that he did that. He's won 3 championships as a player in the NHL and 2 in the KHL as a head coach. So it just shows you like he's phenomenal. He just knows the game so well. And I think that they should bring him in an executive sense. I don't know what you need to do, but I think you need to bring him over. Maybe it's a Nick Lidstrom type, or if you like bring him into the organization, maybe leave him in the KHL and he can be a scout out there, still make a good living, just kind of bring him in the fold if he wants to be a bigger part of the organization. I absolutely think so. I actually think that Chris Draper, who's an assistant GM right now for the Red Wings, I think he will leave and become a GM somewhere else. Similar to we saw with Verbeek out in the. So you had Verbeek left for the Anaheim Ducks, right? Jim Nill was also a Dallas Stars. He was with the Red Wings organization as well. So I could absolutely see Fedorov becoming a piece. I don't know if he becomes a GM. I think he's 55, I guess. So I guess he could, but to me, I just see. Oh, no way. Fedorov was romantically linked to actress Tara Reid. Holy smokes, American Pie. Talk about getting the all-American experience, which is crazy. Anyways, I would love them to bring in the organization. So, side note, this is my hot take, by the way, for the Red Wings. And I don't believe this, but this is something that came to my mind when I was, and I don't need this anymore. Actually, I'm going to go back to single screen. But to me, I see this as, I could see the way the fan base is talking on Twitter. And again, Twitter is toxic. I'm going to straight up say that. I mean, we're seeing it. People talk about the amazing crap and everything. I mean, dude, Frank Nazar signed a 7-year deal at like $6.9 million, like almost $7 million, right? For the Chicago Blackhawks. Not even in the same division or conference. And people are like, look at Kyle Davidson of the Chicago Blackhawks getting guys signed, and Steve Yzerman is doing nothing about Edmonton's contract. And I'm like, dude, what do you get out of here, dude? Like, chill. It's August, dude. Like, that's the biggest deal we've seen in this August, right? Like, just chill, dude. So, anyhow, I think what we're seeing is, by the way, that's a good comparable. By 7x7 is a very good comparable to what Casper could be getting. Just let you know. Preview. My hot take is that, because it's more of a question than a hot take, but does Yzerman, is the last good thing that Yzerman does for the Detroit Red Wings is put Sergei Fedorov'S jersey in the rafters. And the reason I'm asking that is because people are losing their minds. People are losing their minds. And I don't think it's the case. I think that the Red Wings will keep Yzerman. I think it's his job to lose. I think it's his job to walk away. I mean, unless he's like 15 years into this thing or something like that. Shovel Dayoff has been with the Winnipeg Jets for over like 10, 12 years, and they haven't made the conference finals. Like, come on. Like, so maybe. They might have made it one time. I think it would have been the Canadian division, maybe. And so, no, because that was Montreal. Never mind. Anyways, but I think my question is because I believe that Red Wings will lose. They will be 6th in the division this year. I think it's going to be the only teams that are not going to beat are Buffalo and Boston. And honestly, if Buffalo actually gets their stuff together, they could be better, right? Norris, by the way, Cousin and Norris were the ones traded from Buffalo to Ottawa. That's where Jacob Bernard-Knocker got traded to Buffalo. But to me, I see that Yzerman will still be GM, but I think that it is a question of what the expectation is. I don't think that Yzerman didn't try to get big free agents. I think he tried. I think there is talks about him trying to get Ehlers, trying to have a conversation with his management and his agent. Ehlers didn't even want to try and entertain coming to Detroit. He wanted to have a conversation with Steve Yzerman. So that was completely nixed right there. So the one, of course, Mitch Marner was traded to Vegas. That one, I mean, free agent crop was very thin this year. I mean, he picked up James Van Riemsdyk and Mason Appleton, again, cool, again, and then of course, Travis Hamonic as well. But it's nothing to wow you, right? They're still missing a left winger, a top line left winger, and they're still missing a second pair right D. They're still missing D. They just need a prominent D, right? Like ideally, you'd like someone that could take that allows Edmonton to go up and can play second pair, right? We know that they pursued Aaron Ekblad of the Florida Panthers, a right-handed defenseman who could have played amazing second pair minutes, and then you bump Albert Johansson down to the third pair, right? You don't even have to sign Hamonic at that point. And there was thoughts that it was going to give him a 7-year contract at $8 million a year, which is sizable, very good deal. I think it may be upwards of $9 million a year is what I also read. Ekblad ends up signing for, I believe it was $8 million a year or 8 years. Let me look this up. I said this earlier, and I want to make sure that I say this correctly. Because Ekblad, because I think I said 8 years, $6.1 million, but I think the $6.1 million maybe it'll be being correct. Let's see. Nope, I was correct. God damn it, that's such a good deal, dude. His first deal, oh my god, $6.1 million is honestly it's insane. He was making 7.5 million for 8 years, and then he signs at 6.1 for 8 years at 29 years old. Like crazy. This is insane. And so, of course, alternate captain, first overall draft pick, right? 6'4", 220. Like this guy's weighs more than me and is 6 inches taller. But to me, I think he tried, and it's unfortunate that guys aren't willing to come here yet. And I think that what Yzerman's going to do is going to walk in the locker room during training camp. He's like, "Hey guys, I tried to pursue Oilers, didn't want to come here, didn't want to have a conversation. Hey guys, I talked to Aaron Ekblad, tried to get him to come out, didn't want to come here. Bennett signed, Marchand signed, Marner went to Vegas. So it was already talks about that last year, him going to Vegas. So to me, I think when you look at this, Detroit is not yet a desirable place to play for free agents. And so he is saying, hey, I've done my work of drafting you guys. I brought you guys in. We've developed you. We've given you all the amenities, everything you need to succeed. I've hit on every first round draft pick that I have. Sider, Raymond, Evanson, Casper, Danielson looking good. Kosa's looking good, right? Carter Barrow's a great pickup. Axel Pellica's looking great too. Albert Johansson now is coming out. Carter Mayer's starting to come out, right? So you're starting to see the fruits of labor. Yzerman always believed in building the draft. It's being built. The guys need to show up. I think Sider's going to take a step this year. I think if Hamonic can take some time off the penalty kill for him, that would be huge. I think Edmonton and Casper have the highest ability to actually make that next jump. So I can absolutely see them doing that. And so I think that you're going to see guys. I think James Van Riemsdyk is going to be a good addition, right? Probably end up playing first slide center or first slide winger. And so I'm just I have so much I rely so much on that Yzerman's plan that you build through the draft and you bring guys in slowly, right? Wollander probably will end up starting next year. Kosa will come up next year because Talbot will be gone. You'll have Gibson, Kosa, right? Casper will be on a new deal. Evanson will be on a new deal. So these things are going to happen. They are starting to happen, but it takes time. Yzerman's preached patience. Yzerman's been in the seat since 2019, which means he's going to his 1920 season. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. His sixth full year. He's finished six years. He's going to his seventh. Red Wings have been out for almost, I think, 2016 as they left, right? So if they finish this year without being in the playoffs, it's 10 years without being in the playoffs. Not Yzerman's fault. Howland left them shit. Dennis Cholowski didn't work out. Zadina didn't work out. Rasmussen is fine, but not a 9th overall pick caliber kind of guy. more like a third line guy. Larkin really worked out. That's awesome. That is absolutely worked out. Veleno didn't work out either, right? He was traded to Seattle or to Chicago and then traded to Seattle. Seattle bought him out. I think he plays for he's for the Canadiens. I think it is. Veleno. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for the Canadiens. Because I think he's from Quebec as well. So that makes a lot of sense. His current contract, yep, Canadiens. Yep. So that makes sense. He's from there. He is from he's from Montreal. So he took a $900,000 deal. Good bet for the Montreal Canadiens. Good for them. If it works out, great. Good for him. I'm happy for him. He's now this is his third original 16 played on. Who was he? Kane? Who is he? Bertuzzi? Bertuzzi played for Boston, Detroit, Chicago. Kane played for Rangers, Detroit, Chicago. So we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for this season. It's gonna be a great time. I'm nervous as shit, but it's gonna be an amazing year. And I can't wait. Let me know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on Sergei Fedorov'S retiring? What are your thoughts on the amazing signing for Travis Hamonic? And do you think this is Yzerman's last big move as GM? Do you think he gets let go? I would love to know all your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys. Love you. See you in the next one. Bye.